to the first episode of the Power of Pathways podcast. My name is Kaleena Berryman, joined by Jennifer Made, Kimberly Brown, and Hydeia Austin. And our mission is to have conversations that help us to improve post-secondary outcomes for young people in Newark and beyond. Ladies, how does it feel to be starting on this journey together?
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kimberly Brown. I am excited to be on this journey. I am the newest member of the NYCP team, and I think we're starting off with a bang. Yeah. I'm excited to be on this podcast, and really excited to be doing this work with people who I know are dedicated and passionate about this work, and especially youth in Newark.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Hydeia Austin. I'm the program manager for NYCP, and I'm just very excited for the launch of the Power of Pathways podcast. My goal has always been that young people always felt connected and were made aware of the different resources and opportunities in our city. With NYCP, they are provided access to dedicated and resourceful individuals and organizations who will eventually become mentors for them. And they develop a sense of community. I think that's really important.
Yeah, yes. Great work.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jen. Well, I'm Jennifer Made. Let me be professional. I am a partner with the Abbott Leadership Institute, a partner of the NYCP. And I'm just here and really happy about having all of the resources on a specific platform. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah.
Okay, Kaleena. So what made you decide that we should have a podcast?
Well, as you know, Newark Youth Career Pathways started in 2019 with about 75 students, and our mission was to improve access. All of us have known how great out-of-school time programs have been. We've worked for them, we've been a part of them, and they really were the game changers for us and empowering us and giving us opportunity to those people, that would stay with us throughout our journey. And so we have 5 dynamic partners: the Abbott Leadership Institute, the Center for Pre-College Programs, Leaders of the 21st Century, Early Learning Financial Literacy Program, and Good Education Group. Shout out to all of them. And 6 school partners now. We're at Westside High School, University High School, Eagle Academy, Donald Payne Tech, West Caldwell Tech, and Newark Tech, working in 23 CTE career technical education classrooms, serving 350 students. And of our 350 students, 80% of them are not connected to any out-of-school time program. And so we know the difference that this connection makes, and we're learning so much. We're learning about the resources that exist in our community. We're learning about how to work better with employers to make sure young people have jobs. We're learning about expanding conversations beyond just college to post-secondary next steps. And so we want to share what we're learning, because we're also learning about barriers and challenges that are real that our young people are facing. And so I'm looking forward to us having real conversations on this podcast so that all of us who are doing this work can do it better.
Yes, and I am really excited that this space was created because as Director of Youth Programs at the Abbott Leadership Institute, we have served as a partner to NYCP. And at ALI, we have been working since 2015 to support students through post-secondary success. And I'm really excited to share what we've learned.
Yeah, College Success Centers have been working with hundreds of young people a year for a while. So shout out to the ALI College Success Centers, founded in 2015 by young people in this city who said that we need a space outside of school because sometimes school doesn't believe in us as much as out-of-school time program partners do. And so just shout out to the goals that we have right now with NYCP, we could not accomplish without Jennifer and the ALI team. So just kudos to you all.
Shout out to ALI.
Yes. Junius Williams, founder. We got to give him some love too.
So just as, we talk about our experiences and, my goal experiences as a program manager speaking to a lot of the students in the classes is that they have a desire to be connected to people in their career field. And I think that goes into them receiving more exposure. I think their desires to see more outside of their traditional learning experience, meaning seeing more outside of, their classroom and their daily academic life. I think it's more so connecting them to people who are doing what they want to do. And sometimes it's more unconventional careers. But I definitely agree with you, Kaleena, with that exposure is number one.
Yeah, because sometimes we want to be things and we don't know anybody in our family who've done it. When I was a little girl, I wanted to be a doctor and a lawyer at the same time. And then I wanted to be on television, but I didn't know anybody doing any of that stuff.
And you could do that now.
You could now. You could really be a doctor and a lawyer and on television now. But, people, all my family would say is, yes, baby, you can do it, but nobody knew how to make that happen for me. So the people exposure is so important. That's a good point, Hydeia.
I'm laughing because when I was younger, I wanted to be a nurse, a teacher, and a social worker. And I remember making a chart saying how I was going to manage the time. And do all so we're the same.
Manage the time.
Yes. So. As the director of NYCP, I know that it's really important to have strong teams when you're developing these programs. So I really am excited about this podcast, bringing people together and talking about the importance of ecosystems when we're creating these networks of support for our students.
Yeah.
And I also know that as a former manager of pre-college programs, it's really important to help students dispel those myths. So exactly what you just said, there's a lot of myths that are barriers for our youth in this city. And a lot of times simple conversations can really unlock doors. They can break down those barriers. And that's what we're trying to do here. Just bring people together, have really good conversations that can nurture everyone. So not even just students. Sometimes we have to remember the importance of engaging parents and then working together with all other programs in the city. So, that's really the missing piece, I think. And that's what NYCP does really well, just bringing together people that are working as collaborators to target some of these issues.
Yeah, and that's why we brought Kimberly. I actually was like, Kimberly, we need you, because the bringing people together part has always been a barrier, especially in cities like ours. It's hard anywhere, but getting people to, one, agree to do something, then to agree to let somebody lead them, to agree to do it well, to agree to make changes, and to agree to go on a journey together for the benefit of young people is hard. It's hard in theory, but then it's also hard in practice. But then you have to create systems to make that happen. And so Kimberly has really been helpful in just helping us to create systems and processes that can make that happen. So shout out to you for sure. But you said a word, ecosystem. How do we define that in this post-secondary space? What is an ecosystem for young people?
I would say that students have so many different needs, right? So it's academic, it's social, it's emotional. So I think the ecosystem is understanding that you need multiple people at the table to help really resolve some of these issues. And, because some of the issues are small and some of them are really big.
Right.
And so one person, we talk a lot about making sure that we're linking students to professionals and linking them to support systems. But the ecosystem is just making sure that all of these people know that they are a part of the ecosystem and they're all working together to support students.
Yeah. That's critical. It's hard, and but somebody's got to do it. So we're working together, and I think all of our partners. Yes, Newark Youth Career Pathways has a team, a leadership team, but at that table is Jennifer, is Dr. Good, is Dan, it's Drew, it's Dr. Dean Rogers, it's Alexis. All of us are figuring this stuff out together. And so couldn't imagine a better team of people to do this with.
Okay, so speaking of pathways, ladies, can you tell us what drove you here? What is your high school experience and what, made you be a part of this pathway?
Yeah.
Well, I'll start with my pathway story. Well, obviously, growing up in Newark, I'm a product of Newark Public Schools, elementary and high school. While in high school, I was an honor student.
What high school?
Oh, let's shout it out. Malcolm X Shabazz High School,
That's
the
right,
class
home
of
of the
2011 Bulldogs. Yes. A great experience, great time in my life. But yes, while at Shabazz, I held various student leadership positions academically. But also, what I wanted to really touch on is just my post-secondary support that I necessarily didn't believe or receive, in a sense. For me and my peers, oftentimes we had to outsource for a lot of resources due to a lot of administration changes. We went through a process where we went through I think 4 principals in 3 years. A huge turnover rate with teachers and support staff. Guidance counselors was a huge one. I think my freshman year, our guidance counselor left midway throughout the year.
Wow.
So it was definitely difficult for myself and my peers to have consistent post-secondary support. And I know just for me personally, I always was a person that outsourced it. I was always connected to my community. And obviously through that outsourcing community, I linked up with Youth Media Symposium under the Abbott Leadership Institute. And from there, I blossomed and grew. But, I was always a person that was still looking out, for my peers and, my friends at school. And it was just the conversation of, we didn't really have trusted adults because of that turnover rate.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing about being a trusted adult was someone that you could follow through with because just so much was going on at that time.
Yeah, and when you say trusted adult, like, can you break that down for us? What is the definition of a trusted adult? Because I think a lot of adults think that they're doing great work and they want to do great work. Like, they intend to be impactful, but it might not necessarily always translate for a young person. So how do we define trusted adult?
Well, I think how I define trusted adult is someone who, follows through. It's following up, it's showing up, and it's following through. Okay. I know personally for me, with my personal life, I didn't have more trusted adults in my personal sector, so I looked to people in my school community or my outside community for that support. Yeah. So I definitely think it was the follow through, and I became a person who didn't necessarily always ask for help and support. I thought I had to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And a lot of my peers were like that, especially during that post-secondary process. That's a very exciting experience, but it's also a very overwhelming experience. And again, if you don't have the consistent, trusted, and follow-through support from that adult, it can be very overwhelming. And you don't necessarily get the gems that you need.
Yeah. So trusted adult is someone who shows up, follows through consistently. Once we locked in, ain't no switching up. We in this. And when you said that, a lot of my peers felt like they could do it alone. I was in a school, and just last week, and I mentioned to a student that about getting a mentor, and he said, "No, I don't need no mentor because nobody got you like you got you." And I was like, "Well,
that's facts. That's facts."
I get it, but it touched me, but it hurt me a little bit too. But I said, "Well, you can have you, but somebody else can have you too." And I realized that he felt that way because probably a lot of people that he's encountered didn't have him like he had him. And so, adults, when we get a chance to have a young person, we got to have them through all of the changes and through all of the parts of their life, not just school, because it's more complicated than that. So thanks, Hydeia. Trusted adult. We're going to raise that up.
For me, I'm first generation college student. My parents actually didn't even go to middle school. My mom probably went to 6th grade, but my dad after 4th grade, and they come from a different country, so schooling is a little bit different. Yeah. But so I didn't have much family support in terms of they didn't know what to do, so they couldn't guide me anywhere. They didn't even know what that would even look like for me. They couldn't imagine that far, and I think but what I know that lifted me up was community support. So I didn't have much family support, but I did have a lot of people. I definitely will not say that I did anything alone, because I definitely was supported a lot by the community. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned some people that early on were definitely the reason why I became who, was guided that way. Miss Barnwell, who owns Source of Knowledge. She was my counselor.
Wow.
Yes, she was my guidance counselor at university. Dr. Lopez, she was the first person to introduce me to a lot of things, especially a lot of little luxury in life.
She's still at university.
She's one of our teachers.
Yes, and also shout out to University High School. It's the best high school in the city of Newark.
Ours high.
But there's nothing like being a Phoenix, and I think that school definitely set the tone. So I want to shout out my cousin, because had he not gone to that school prior to me, I wouldn't even have been in consideration. Wow. Because my mom was not sending me to the South Forward. She just was like, "No, you are not getting on 2 buses to go to school." And I convinced her because my cousin also went there. So I am so grateful. It's the best decision I could say I've made, because it trickled down to other decisions. Not going to Science Park, no shade to science, but I was admitted, and I just really, really wanted to go to university because of the culture. And so for me, I don't want to talk too much about directly what I did, but I really do want to say that I would not be here or anywhere had it not been for mentorship and community support. So the piece that you said about trusted adult is some completely, and every student needs at minimum 3. For different purposes and reasons. And that's because I had 3. And not saying that that's the magic number, but you need a lot of support, especially when you come from first generation and no one else has done it before you and your family.
I we have a talk that we do where we kind of lay out 3 to 5 different types of adults that a young person needs, and partly for that young person to identify who those people are, but also for adults to become those people. So, yes, you have a mentor, an encourager was one. They might not be able to mentor you in your career, but they're the people that keep you encouraged. But then another one that I like to lift up is a sponsor. Someone where if there's an opportunity that you want to take part of and you don't have the money. Our kids don't have the money for a lot of the things that they want to do. But somebody that you can call and say, hey, look, I need $1,500, to go on this study abroad. And they might not have $1,500, but they will commit to helping you get those resources.
Shout out Mr. Williams. I studied abroad because of him.
That's right. Look, let me tell you. So in our paths to becoming trusted adults, let's think about the many different ways that young people may need us. So, Kimberly, what was your pathway like?
My pathway was that my family is traditionally and historically from Newark.
Okay.
I am from Rahway. I was always jealous of all of my cousins for living in Newark. I begged my mother. I did not understand that legally you cannot, I wanted to go to arts.
Okay.
And I didn't understand that legally you can't allow your child to go to, And my mother didn't even explain it as a legal issue. Her thing was, I can't let you go to school in Newark. And so that was something I thought about for a lot of years because I was like, what does that mean?
Right.
I didn't understand as a kid that schools can be different.
Yeah.
However, I think it's also important to note that I did go to a predominantly white high school, and I don't think that I was seen.
Okay.
So I did not have post-secondary support. I don't recall a guidance counselor talking to me about my journey at all. And by the time I was in high school, I was in love with hip hop. I thought I was going to Full Sail, and I was going to work at Def Jam. That was my plan.
Okay.
Wait, but first you was going to be a nurse, a teacher, and a
That was a young.
Okay.
That was a young. And you know what? I think that came from being the oldest of my cousins and having to be the caregiver. I don't have my siblings didn't live in my household, but as the oldest cousin, teaching all the kids how to tie.
Right.
So everyone in my family was like, "Oh yeah, you're a teacher. You're gonna be a teacher."
Right.
And so by the time I was in high school and I was trying to make my own decision, they were like, "No, we don't understand that. What is the music industry?" And Black parents were like, "What is hip hop?"
Right. Right.
And
that's not a career.
And so
backup plan.
So they knew Rutgers, and my mother was an EOF counselor at Rutgers, so they knew, free tuition, you're going to Rutgers. I didn't have a choice, and so. Well, that's a blessing. However, it wasn't what I wanted, and I fought it for so long. My college journey was so rocky because it was something I was fighting the entire time. Right. So I jokingly say my major was African American Studies. I took it out of rebellion because I was like, if I gotta be here, I'm only learning how to be black. I'm only learning how to be black. That's my truth.
Funny.
That's my fight.
If I have to be here.
But I took a really important class, and it was education and social change, and that's Amy Cox, my favorite professor ever.
Yeah.
And what she had us do was compare mission statements from students, schools in urban areas compared to suburban areas. If you ever look at mission statements on high schools, they vary so much.
Wow.
And what she taught us was that Black parents don't even look at that. They don't tour schools. They don't know what's going on in the school. And if you really look at those mission statements, to this day, it will tell you where your child will end up. Right. And so when I was at Rutgers, there was a new program called Rutgers Future Scholars starting up, and they were looking for college mentors. And I decided to, become a mentor. But my real goal was to inspire these Newark students who were in this scholarship program to make sure that as they're thinking about what they want to come to college for, it is their plan. It is not, the plan of everyone around them. And all of them were first generation college students. So they didn't have that support. They didn't have people around them that had that knowledge. But unfortunately, what that often turns into is parents pushing doctor, lawyer. And then you have students really stressed out. Some of them, and then you also have students that have C's and D's in science and math. And so it's like doctor, lawyer is not even realistic. But they can't have that conversation. They need somebody still to have that support to even have those conversations with their parents. And so that's how I became a mentor and did that work for my life. So I became the teacher.
But also, we get to use all of our other gifts in other ways. And, low-key shout out to Rutgers Newark, because Rutgers Newark brought us all together.
Yeah, you did.
Right?
Mecca.
So low-key, Big shout out to Rutgers Newark, because Rutgers Newark in different ways brought us all together. Mm-hmm. That's how I ended up on my career path. I, as I said, wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer. Then I wanted to be in television, went to Arts High for television, majored in college in television, went to William Patterson because that was the only college campus I'd ever been on. Mm-hmm. And I only went to William Patterson because, as a visit, because my teacher, shout out to Deanna Whitley, she enrolled me in the W.E.B. Du Bois program there that's now at Princeton. So I'd have went to Princeton if it was there at the time. And so that's how I got to explore that campus. But I was sixth in my class. I was class president. I was president of my major. Mm-hmm. And I had no real post-secondary counseling at all. And the only thing the family said, I was also first generation on my mama's side, it was go to college. So that's what I did. I went to college on a full scholarship, had jobs waiting for me there. And then when I left college, I started working in like safety construction, writing manuals. Shout out to Applegate Associates, because that was my first job. I was so excited when I got hired. I was like, Mom, they're going to pay me $32,000. I can't. She said, really? I said, yes. It was so exciting. And then I decided that I wanted to get my master's for free. So I started applying for jobs at all these different colleges, and it wasn't really successful. So finally, Junius Williams calls me, and we have a phone interview. And I had the interview at Applegate Associates. I was like on my lunch break, and he said, so tell me how you spend your day. And I said, well, I wake up, I brush my teeth. And he was like, girl, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about at work. But long story short, when I tell you, I am doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And even my parents say, Junius Williams, all those other people, great, they were helpful. But when it comes to your career and you being able to live the life and do this work that you love, where it never feels like you're working a day, he helped me find my purpose and my passion. So through Junius Williams, I met a whole bunch of other people, including you women around this table, who have given me a career that doesn't ever feel like work. And through that, just working with ALI, I kind of promoted myself over the years. And I was hired to be an administrative assistant, but then YMS was happening, and I got involved in that. And now that's my life, is I dedicate to empowering young people. And, that has been my pathway. And now I follow my peers and what they're doing and watch them, and am constantly learning. So low-key shout out to Rutgers Newark. Definitely grateful to all of those who were the trusted adults, because we still need trusted adults, trusted elders, trusted peers. I don't make many decisions without talking to others. So, the need for trusted adults never ends. All right. So speaking of trusted adults, a lot of our trusted adults are connected to resources. So this is the Resource Corner segment of Pathways podcast. What are your favorite go-to resources when it comes to helping young people? Jennifer, what's your go-to?
The College Success Center scholarship chart.
That's a chart, baby.
Yeah, it's about 25, I think 27 pages long. Okay. It has tons of resources. I want to shout out a couple of local ones. Mm-hmm. The HBCU Scholarship Ride gives about $100,000 a year to students from Newark going to HBCUs. Also, the Chad School Foundation, one of the only, if I'm saying this correctly, only Black philanthropists in the city of Newark. And they give out about $10,000 scholarships every year. And the Wilhelmina Holder Scholarship, which is a last-minute need-based scholarship. Shout out to Ms. Holder. I want to just say that.
No, those are three excellent ones, and I think we're going to make sure that we share the links and more information in the description of this episode, because those are definitely three of my go-tos. Kimberly, what are yours?
So I have to shout out the Rutgers Future Scholars Program. So to explain the program, it is a 5-year pre-college program. They recruit 50 7th grade students from across the city of Newark annually, and those students earn a tuition scholarship to Rutgers University, any of the 3 campuses. Wow. And unfortunately, not a lot of people utilize the program, not as much that should be. I think the applications should be flooded with thousands of applications annually. So I really want to encourage students from the South and Central wards. They really need your representation. And it's just an amazing program that provides a lot of resources. And that program molded me. pretty much, Kaleena, we might be the same person.
Because
I started there as a college student. I worked my way up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to Tremisha Moore. She was the coordinator at the time, and she pushed me, and she really delegated to me, and she taught me. She taught me everything. Everything that she did, she taught me, and she was very transparent. And she made it so that, once she left, after a couple of years, I was able to take over. And, I think that's really important. There was no gatekeeping. That she was like, oh no, I'm going to mold you. I'm going to teach you.
Absolutely.
And that even when I leave, you might not be next in line, but after that, you can be, the person. And we still talk often.
Shout out to Dr. Moore. Yes.
Shout out to RFS and Dr. Moore. And then the next one I would like to highlight is Newark Youth One Stop. I think the Summer Youth Employment Program is very, very beneficial to our youth. But I really want to give them a shout out because not only do they provide summer jobs for students, they also support pre-college programs. And so, for instance, RFS students are paid over the summer just to attend the program. And so it really helps students so that they understand the importance of summer enrichment, and they don't have to decide over taking a summer job because they need money. Because the truth of the matter is a lot of our students do need money. At a certain age, their parents are looking at them as an expected contributor to the household, right? Or even if they need back to school clothes, right? It's a real thing. And so I just respect that program for understanding the importance of summer programs in the city and being able to support those programs. So by making it not a competition, right? So the kids don't have to say, hey, I'm sorry, Ms. Brown, I can't do the program anymore. I have to go work. They're like, no, keep your kids. We'll pay your kids. So shout out to them.
And so in the city of Newark and the Summer Youth Employment Program, thank you to them. They've provided lottery bypass slots for our students in Newark Youth Career Pathways. So we thank them for that. And they provide and the amount of money that you can earn in the summer is steadily increasing. So special shout out to Kevin Callahan for raising the money to make that program happen every year. And for the whole team, they have been so kind. There's now a Newark Youth Re-Engagement Center that's open where young people can go and get job assistance, enrollment in college. They have an affordable college program at Rutgers, Newark, and what's the other campus,
College
Jennifer?
of St. Elizabeth.
College of St. Elizabeth. We are so resource rich, and we're going to make sure that we have conversations about all those opportunities in future episodes of Power Pathways. Hydeia, what are some of your go-to resources?
You continue to drop those gems.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll always continue to be. ALI, Abbott Leadership Institute, like I said, I wouldn't be sitting here in the position I am if it wasn't for that. Youth Media Symposium, Stand on the Pillars of Gen at the ALI College Success Center. I think they provide excellent resources, opportunities with scholarship, FAFSA assistance. Shout out to the FAFSA tour, ALI YMS. That it's just amazing the support that they provide for the community. And I'm a vessel of it, and I continue to outpour that to any young person that I meet and encounter daily. It's just a mecca.
All right. Well, we want to thank you all for tuning in to the Power of Pathways podcast. We will continue to share, inspire. We work for young people. And y'all, let's do this work and let's do it for real. All right. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.